guys, I'm here to break down and give you an update of Nick the Hat's probation officer calling me back. Okay, a couple of lives ago, I called because they were starting their shenanigans with the December Wells case, and I actually got a call back from the parole officer. Actually, is what it is, not probation officer. However, the hypocrisy is real, and I need to show you this clip for the people who are following this, and one other thing, and we'll break it all down.
What's up, Ernest Dog here. So, I'm reading that this guy named Ernie is using my name and claiming to have caught a bunch of felons with me. I don't know what to do, but I know that he can't do that. So, I would suggest that you say you're going to call me, and which is true, I have a whole staff of lawyers. So whatever he's made in, number one, that is a felony for him to do that. Plus, he's on probation. So what I need from you is his full name and his date of birth, and where he's on probation at, and his probation officer's name. And then I will take care of that, right away. Thank you very much, sir. Aloha.
All right, guys, so I owe you the update from the parole officer and a lot to break down here. First and foremost, this is a clip coming from a channel called Evil Ghost. From what I could gather as of making this video, a few things here. This is there's a community for the people, for the OGs who know Ernie Shell is a complete scumbag. There's like a little community who stays on his ass, and I really appreciate these channels because Ernie Shell is a grifter and a complete dirtbag, okay? So recently, this grifter, this tragedy pimp, this scumbag has got caught in his own lies, and people reached out to Dog, to verify if or Ernie worked with him or not, okay? So for what it's worth, right, I can respect that, right? I can respect that, right? Now, for what I'm talking about, right, with Nick the Hat's parole officer, this is a massive contradiction. Even though I can respect people reaching out to verify to catch a known liar and scammer and even a more epic and more monumental lie, I'm not a big Dog the Bounty Hunter fan myself, but I understand what they're doing in regards to Ernie Shell, so we're going to leave that right there. The irony of this, though, right? Who remembers when Nick the Hat cried like a little bitch when I initially called his parole officer, which in fact I never did. I was just trolling him up until a point, right? Now, the other night on my live stream, I absolutely 1000% called his parole officer, and I got a call back. But the thing is, this guy was crying about, look what I'm doing and all of this, and playing the victim card. Where is he at calling out Dog for wanting to do it to Ernie? Where's he at? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I could care less that Dog did this because Ernie is a scumbag. I'm not a Dog fan. Everybody knows that. Blonde pubes, right? But I'm just saying, if Nick's gonna cry that I did it when I was just trolling him at the time, right? Call it out now. He's not gonna do that, right? He's not gonna do that, right? It's his own team, right? Because he is a coward, right? However, I did call the parole officer, and I have an update for everybody. Okay. Here's the thing. I got a call back as of yesterday in regards to the call to the parole officer I made on the live. I forget what live it was, 1 or 2 lives ago, right? The lady, when she called me back first. She left a message. I missed the call. I called her again. And the first thing she asked me specifically about 4 times in the conversation is, am I recording her? Okay. So obviously I don't have a clip for you guys because, she made it clear she didn't want our conversation on the internet. Now, is there proof of this? Is there actual receipts? If my back was pushed to a wall, maybe the conversation that I'm having, if I was to go back and, I don't know, pull the Amazon doorbell or the security camera that's always running, would I have that conversation? I don't know. It may or may not. But out of respect for her asking me not to record it and put it on the internet, you see what I'm doing here, okay? She asked if I would not record her, and she went into a long thing here and specifically asked me to tell people a message, which is what I'm doing now. And here's the thing. In regards to the Sebastian Rogers case, I never liked not bright media. I never will. I think they're grifters. I think they're scumbags. And Nick is a piece of crap. You could tell by his past, right? He hasn't learned from his past. He's doing the same games. Anyone with common sense knows this. Maybe people still support him. That's great. You know, where's Donald Trump on the case, right? If you can't pick up on the lies and see it for yourself and a million others that have been through, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not here to tell you to you have to think for yourself. I'm not here. If you're watching this, you're a grown adult because I don't make kid content. So you should be able to decipher that for yourself. But she was talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. Now, the phone call that I made was specifically for the Summer Wells shenanigans that At Night is doing recently on Twitter. Okay, here's what the parole officer told me. And again, I will emphasize this, specifically said to say a message. She herself, yes, it's a woman. What I found very interesting is with Nick's past, with the racism and the racist emails, it's actually a black woman. Just throwing it out there. But she, in conversation, she kept saying like there was some other person. I don't know which one of you did it. If it was a creator or a subscriber, but recently, some woman recently called and she was talking about this woman for a long time. I have no idea who that is, but the parole officer knew all about the recent court case that was mentioned and is up on game on all the shenanigans. However, I had to tell her I'm not calling about the Sebastian Rogers case. And just for the record, the reason I never called in regards to the Sebastian Rogers case is because I don't think I have a leg to stand on in that. And what I mean by that is Seth hired At Night, right? I know with the billboards and stuff, Chris and Katie don't agree with it and all that, and everybody knows what they do to Chris and Katie, right? But legally, right? Seth is Sebastian's father, right? And whatever permission he gave At Night, and I don't even know if he did or not. I'm just saying, it'd be hard to call in on that because I'm sure that he did at some point, right? He had to hire these guys, right? But as far as Summer goes, is why I called, and I know that the Wells have not gave them any consent on anything, right? And in conversation, I told this woman, "Hey, if you had a kid, I'd be doing the same thing for you." I told the parole officer because you don't want these weirdos. And I brought up, do you know his past with the racist emails, and everything else. But she specifically said, as a parole officer, she cannot do anything to this guy, meaning like it doesn't matter how many people call in. There's nothing like really she can do. And what was also said in this conversation is assurance that Nick is not doing anything. And what does that mean? Well, let's break this down, right? When we look at Twitter or whatever else, you don't really see the attacks coming from Nick. You see them coming from somebody else. I think we all know who that is, right? Are they part of the same group, organization, whatever? Yes, this is correct. But, it isn't Nick specifically doing it, right? It is another person who happens to look like, in my opinion, Kim Jong Un, right? So it's hard to blame person A off of person B's actions, if that makes sense, right? Now, in the chance that person A is to do something, right? What I was told, and even to relay a message, is at that point what needs to be done is a police report get filed, and if they are attacking them, harassing them, stalk them, to basically get it on paper, have the police deal with it, and then from that point to call her back, right? I think people get this confused in Sebastian's case because of the parental thing going on. You have a mother, a father, and a stepfather, okay? There's a little bit, and the father is actually actively working with them, right? Listen, people, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, even if it's not what everybody wants to hear. And trust me, I made the call, right? Not in on the Sebastian case, but as far as Summer's case, because with Summer's case, hey man, nobody is working with them, right? But for what it's worth, they haven't done anything malicious or attack them. But we do know the behavior, we do know their games, so it is worth um, bringing to the Parole's officer's attention. Now, another thing is there seems to be misinformation as far as people are saying within Nick's stipulations of his parole, can he actively work with law enforcement? Is this a breach of his parole? Yes, I brought this up. And no, that is not the correct information. So, and if you think that is to be false or untrue, well, please provide me with receipts because I did bring it up and I offered to email what some have put together on Twitter and other stuff like that. It is listen, man, I have to call out the misinfo people, whether we like it or not, and I have to keep it real, whether we like it or not. And I just wanted to give you guys this update for a couple of reasons. One, Nick had me pinned on his X thing, crying like a little baby. That I called his parole officer many months ago when I never even did. Okay, I did the other night, and I got the call back. But will he cry about dog reaching out and calling someone else's parole or asking the internet for information? No, he won't. So it is a win-win in this video either way. But it's an update. I try to keep my word with you guys. I try to keep it real. And I really wish this video would have been something else, but we got to keep it real, people. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep it real. All right, y'all. Much respect, much love. I'll catch you on the next live, and I still owe you guys a field trip. There's a green team field trip, and it's coming up real soon. Peace.
I care less about that attorney and whatever he feels and thinks about. That family has ignored phone calls. That girl used to live there.
What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe to my clip channel at WhiteBoyRadio Clips, and in the description box is the link to be a member. Become a member if you can. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, stay smart. Peace.